All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what time it is. Like I said, what I'm starting to do is every time I fully beat a game, I gotta bring in my own review. So this is Lost Records Bloom and Rage full review, counting in tape one and tape two. We're putting it all together now that both tapes is out. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. My first impressions of Bloom and Rage was this game was colorful. The game was colorful. So many colors here and there. Um, it was definitely colorful, but colorful is not why I'm here. If y'all also didn't know, I believe this was also made by some of the ex devs that was worked on Life is Strange. And so now they kind of make their own story based, choice driven game. Um, Definitely the dynamic of choices kind of did matter, uh, in a certain extent. Um, was it too harsh? Um, I would say some choices was a little bit too harsh. Um, Me, what I was going for was trying to be, making sure I was friends with all single one of these girls, and really, I wanted to have Swan have a relationship with Kat, but in a way, I end up messing it up with Kat. We couldn't get to that point. We were all just BFFs with me and Kat, and with Autumn. Um, Not gonna lie, I kind of fucked up with Autumn. With my choices with her, that we managed to be friends, but at the start of my playthrough, I was doing good with everybody, making the right choices here and there. Um, but the one connection that I actually managed to connect with was Nora. I don't know, maybe Nora was like easier to talk to or what. I just knew how to talk to Nora. But in my playthrough, Swan ended up having a relationship with Nora. Um, so that was cool. Um, so really for the game choices, I would give it a rated like an 8 out of 10. You know, I feel like choices some choices really should have made more of an impact. I ain't gonna say less of an impact because the story, but I would say a little bit more of an impact. Um, that's for sure. And then, uh, graphic wise, I kind of, I'm not really messing with the old school style. I know it like take back in 1995, but I kind of like how the present was with the graphics way than back then. But like I said, I know it was like to fit the vibe of 1995. So yeah, aesthetic wise, they did well. Did I fuck with it personally? Not really, but that was the least of my worries. Character development of each character. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they did Cat really, really well. A girl that just had cancer. She didn't really say nothing. She was gonna be stuck in her own ways. Not stuck in her own ways, but she kept it to herself. Even though if we were friends, she could have like, uh tell us. But in a way, she had her own reasons. Um and then that concert, when we played that concert and we start seeing what really was wrong with Kat, that's when the whole group started crashing out. Everybody, Kat's sister Dylan ended up crashing out on us. Speaking of Dylan, at first she was just a big meanie, a big bully. It didn't seem like her and Kat really got along, but the more you actually, go along with the story, you figure out that it was because Kat hated one person, and one person was Corey's boyfriend. Um, Once it kind of fixed that, then it really got to the point where you see that Dylan wasn't so bad. So I kind of did like the change in Dylan. That was at least in my playthrough. I don't know what happened in y'all playthrough. I don't even know if I even played the game, but that's what happened with my playthrough. So I was kind of happy with that. And then at the end of the day, Dylan and Kat finally did get along. At least I believe that's what I like to think. But unfortunately, Kat did have to pass away, and that sucked. Um, R.I.P. to Kat. To Autumn. Autumn was a cool character. Um, I mean, that's really all I can say about Autumn. I mean, she was just a cool character. Uh, Definitely, had her beliefs. She was frustrating to deal with, and not gonna lie. And Nora, well, obviously, this might be a little bit biased, but me and Nora, we had our first kiss together in my playthrough. Um, Nora was a pretty good character as well. Um, you can see one thing I did hate about her was she was the druggy type, smoking cigarettes here and there. But in the future, in the present, she did stop that. She did mention that it was a turn off of like her current wife or girlfriend, even though she still kind of went to smoking, but with all everything that happened, I it's okay. Well, it makes sense. But another thing uh I'll say I liked about the game was kind of the story. The story was actually gotten better the more you play it. And I'm gonna be honest, the story didn't fully hit to me until the end of tape one and then the whole part of tape two. At the very beginning, I was just not fucking with the story. But like I said, end of tape one to the whole tape two, the story did get good, and I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, happy about that. Um, Now, if I'm gonna go with the bad parts about the game, the pacing was a really big issue. They uh they gave us a choice. They showed us the box in tape one, and we didn't even fully even open the box until the end of tape two. So I feel like they really should have mentioned it once and then kind of go on with the story. And then at the end of tape two, go back to the box and we'll be like, oh wow, okay, so this was in the box. Um, so that was really a big thing for me was like the pacing. Um, and at parts at times it did get boring. Um, and then yeah, at parts it did get boring where I was kind of like, I wish I kind of get skip this part to get on with the story. But I guess that still has to deal with the pacing wise. Um, so yeah. Also, I did do like a lot of the collectibles, recording everything, kind of make sure I get in all the footage. So, and with and I like the little compilation where it shows everything we recorded for Cat Summer. Believe y'all probably see the video by now, where it has everything that I recorded and it's like my own little personal take of the video. Each people video takes is different. Each people recorded different things. So I'm glad, that was kind of a cool little take on how different each playthrough can be. Um, Now, do I feel good about the ending that I have? I believe I do. Unfortunately, one thing, um, we couldn't get Autumn. Autumn didn't show up in my ending, but there's people that just showed up alone, showed up with just Autumn, showed up with everybody. So, but I'm happy with my ending that I got. Besides, the Autumn not being there, but that was just how I end up making my choices. I made the bed. But anyways, Young Squad, I'm gonna give out my final rating of Lost Records Boom and Rage. Um, so after everything I just said about you know character development, I did kind of like character development on the four main characters, and I did like Dylan's character arc. Corey, that nigga was trash. I don't give a fuck about Corey. I'm glad I was able to stab him, and he is gone, bro. He. But other than that. I believe this game is definitely a YNG rating 6 out of 10. Yeah, it was it was okay. It was mid. Like I said, it had its moments, but did it fully lock me in? Not really. So I feel like a 6 out of 10 rating is a fair rating for Lost Records Blooming Rage. Um, Also, towards the end of Take Two, it showed a little epilogue cutscene. I don't know if that means they're making another Lost Records Blooming Rage, or it's gonna be another like another tape of Lost Records Blooming Rage, or they're making a sequel to Lost Records Blooming Rage. But if that does happen, let just know your boy will be playing it. Your boy will be playing it, and we'll be there on day one, hopefully. But anyways, Young Squad, that's it for today's video. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Young Squad. The next game, probably already seen the video. I probably already posted it. Is Claire Obscure 33 Expedition. It literally just dropped today. And I'm kind of excited. New game on the market. New game to add to my catalog, my repertoire, if you would say. Anyways, Young Squad, I love y'all. Young D is out of here. Deuces.